How to get your first virtual wholesaling real estate deal in 2023 right now, step by step. If you want to get your first deal in under 14 days, that's right, 2 weeks in virtual wholesaling real estate, this is going to be the ultimate step-by-step guide for you so you can have all the tools for your own wholesaling real estate success. Now, I can go out here, charge you $4,000 or $5,000 to learn how to get into virtual wholesaling. I'm going to give you this complete breakdown absolutely for free right now. I'm going to get into the nitty gritty, the meat and potatoes of virtual wholesaling real estate so you know the entire process from start to finish on exactly how to get in this business. So let's get into it. Whoa. But before we get into it, before I share you thousands of dollars of virtual wholesaling real estate game, do me a big favor. Make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, and let's break this all down. So the first thing you have to understand about virtual wholesaling real estate is what is virtual wholesaling real estate? Virtual wholesaling real estate is basically the process of wholesaling houses, putting properties under contract and selling that contract to a cash buyer, which is basically going to be a house flipper or a rich landlord for a profit, or AKA a finder's fee. This is how we're going to make $10, $20, $30, even $40,000 on one real estate deal. Costs $0 at all, and you can find these deals right now in your own local market. Now that's regular wholesaling real estate. Now what is virtual wholesaling real estate? Virtual wholesaling real estate is basically doing that same process, but we're doing it virtually. We're doing it over the computer. We're doing it over the phone. We're doing this all just from an internet connection and our phone. Now the beauty of this is you can do the same thing as regular wholesaling real estate, but you can be anywhere in the entire world. I have people from Trinidad and Tobago, Nigeria, the UK. They're going out here and making hundreds of thousands of dollars every single year, and some of them making hundreds of thousands of dollars every single month in virtual wholesaling. It 100% can be done, and here's the best part. I'm gonna let you in on a big secret. Don't tell the gurus this, but I actually make more money virtually wholesaling real estate here in Florida than wholesaling houses in my own local market in Florida. This is because of scalability. This is the big part about why I love virtual wholesaling real estate so much, is I can scale it up like crazy. Think about it for a second. There are hundreds of millions of homes in the United States of America, and in my own local market, there's probably 150, maybe 200,000 at most. There are 100 times more properties that I can wholesale outside of my market than inside of it. So there's just more deals to be had, and if I can scale it up very well, I'm gonna make more money. This is one of the biggest benefits of virtual wholesaling real estate. It's a lot faster, but really a big con that is there is you don't get to talk to the seller in person, so you might not make as much per deal, but you're able to do more deals. So it's pretty much a wash at the end of the day. You're gonna make a ton of money doing this business. So let's break down the overview of this business versus what you probably have perceived in your mind of regular wholesaling real estate. In regular wholesaling real estate, you know, you go meet with the seller, you shake hands, you talk to them, you go over the script, you write the contract, then you go find a cash buyer, they go by and look at the property, and it's done pretty much hands-on in person. Now in virtual wholesaling real estate, the only things that really change is we're really going to be doing this from the computer. So when we talk to the seller, it's obviously just only going to be from the phone, and the cash buyer situation is going to be a little different, which we're going to break down. But all you have to do is find the right title company. You still get your check mailed to you or even wired. And the process is not too different than regular wholesaling real estate. Some people might even say it's even easier. So the first thing we have to understand when we get into virtual wholesaling real estate is we have to find the best virtual wholesaling markets. And I can do an entire different video on the best virtual wholesaling markets. But what I can tell you, it all breaks down to population and medium home price. That is the main part that makes a good virtual wholesaling market than a bad virtual wholesaling market. And this really comes down to finding the good areas in the United States for wholesaling real estate virtually and the bad areas. Let's talk about the first part here, population. I have found that population, when it comes to finding a good virtual wholesaling market or not, the population has to be above 100,000 people in a given county for it to be good or not. Now, if you're outside of the United States or you don't know what a county is, pretty much how governments are divvied up is it goes by city, county, and then state, and then country. So for example, in the United States, that is the country. There's a state called Texas. Now in Texas, there's a county called Harris County, and inside of Harris County, there's Houston, which is the city. Now, if I want to figure out if Harris County is a good area or not, I'm going to look at the population, which I can easily Google. I'm going to find it is way more than 100,000 people, which means there's plenty of people in that given city. And when there's a lot of people in a city, there's usually a lot of cash buyers. And our cash buyers are our customers. They're the ones who give us our assignment fees, our finder's fee. They're buying our wholesaling deals. This is what gives us our money. It's like opening up shop. You don't want to open up a shop where the population's like 300 people. There's not going to be a lot of customers there. You want a lot of foot traffic. You want a good state for it. So if you're really looking at counties, make sure your county is above 100,000 people. Now, before you go screaming at me, just understand the population will not dictate if it's a good virtual wholesaling market or not, just solely. You also have to cross-reference that with the median home price. Now, this is the second part. They are not exclusive. They have to be done together when looking at a good market. So number one, we have to have at least a population in the county of 100,000 people for it to be considered a good virtual wholesaling market. Now, when I look at a median home price, I want to make sure the median home price is below at least 450, 500,000 for that county. So it's like a Venn diagram. We have cities with a lot of great populations, and we got cities that have median home prices below 500,000. What we're looking to find is the overlap for the two. Places where there's a high population and low median home prices. How do I find the median home price for a county? Just search it up. All you have to do is just go to Zillow or Google.com and search Harris County median home price 2023. And it will pop up with estimate the median home price for single family homes in that area. And if it's below 400 or 500,000, you should be good. And that's pretty much all it is to it, to finding a good virtual wholesaling market. The reasoning behind having the median home price be lower than $400,000 to $500,000 is because when the property values start going up even more, these sellers are less willing to take a big discount. And the name of the game of wholesaling real estate is getting big discounts on properties so we can sell to cash buyers in a high population for the most money possible. Think about it. If somebody owns a house that's worth $1 million and I try to get a 20% discount off that property, that seller psychologically is going to be like, no way, I'm not giving up $200,000. I'm not reducing the price by $200,000. But if somebody owns a property, it's worth $100,000 and I'm trying to get a 20% price reduction on that, they're just knocking 20 grand off the price. Most sellers don't freak out too much when you do that. The problem is the law of large numbers. The larger the number, any percent off that number is going to be a larger portion of it. So that's why 1% of $1 million is 10,000 and 1% of 100,000 is just 1,000. Losing 1,000 versus losing 10,000, that's a big difference to most people in their heads. Now let's get back into finding the best virtual wholesaling lists. Now, when you're going out here in marketing, a lot of people in virtual wholesaling just like to throw a dart out there and find the best list that they think in their mind is going to be the best. From my experience, when you're virtual wholesaling, you can only use your phone and you only have an internet connection and you got to do really good virtual wholesaling markets. There are certain lists that work really well, and in my opinion, lists that don't work too well. And there's also marketing channels that work well and that don't. Now, I've been virtual wholesaling for over 5+ years and I've done thousands of deals like this, me and Rick. And I can tell you, I can teach people how to get their first deal in virtual wholesaling very well. And I've helped hundreds of thousands of people get their first virtual wholesaling deal. I've seen certain lists don't work and certain lists work. So this is my opinion off my experience doing virtual wholesaling and teaching hundreds of thousands of people to get into virtual wholesaling. When you are broke and you don't have any money, I will hands down tell you the best lists for virtual wholesaling right now are government lists. These are lists you can get from the local government of where your virtual wholesaling market is. And this is going to be a list of these properties that have big motivating factors that the government has flagged. These are lists like code violations, probates, water shutoffs, fire damage properties, tax delinquencies, liens, the arrest record lists. These lists can go on and on forever. Now, at my free real estate wholesaling course, freewholesaling.com, I do share and break down exactly for free actually how to pull this list for the best success. And what I can tell you from my best experience possible, this list is amazing because number one, it's free. Number two, a lot of people in wholesaling real estate actually don't know about these lists because broke gurus can't make money off of you. So they don't want to share it. It's a big secret, but a lot of the big wholesalers in your own market are actually doing this. And there's not a lot of competition with these lists compared to if you use a PropStream or Batch Leads list, which I highly recommend. I love paid lists, but compared to government lists, they're a lot less saturated. Now, the big con with government lists is there's just a lot more difficult to pull. That's why less wholesalers go after it. But if you don't have any money and you want to invest your time into going after these lists, it's a great worthwhile investment. Just go to my free wholesaling course, freewholesaling.com, to learn exactly how to pull these government lists absolutely for free. Now, the next list here are what we call paid lists. Now, paid lists are lists we can get from services that we can pay for. These are lists you just can't get from the government. So for example, like a government list, there's a motivating factor that makes us actually want to go after these leads. For example, like a code violation, which when you go to freewholesaling.com, you'll learn exactly why you should pull this list and how amazing it is. But you will learn these are properties with tall grass, mold and mildew on the property, structural damage that the government goes out here, finds, someone complains, then they make a list of it. It's an amazing list. Now, the same thing like that with paid lists, we actually can pay a service provider to go pull a list for us that has a motivating factor like that. That'll make somebody want to sell their property for a discount for us to make a big profit. But these aren't done from government agencies. For example, one really amazing paid list that I love is called the vacant property list. Now, this is a list of all the properties in a given virtual wholesaling market that are vacant, which means nobody's living in the house. It's just sitting there, empty, abandoned. It's not making anyone any money. It's actually costing taxes every single year and just sitting there, abandoned. This is a great list to be going after because a lot of these properties are distressed and ugly, and the seller's not making any money off of it, so they just want to cash out and get rid of it. Unfortunately, government agencies can't really pull this list, but you can use a paid service provider that will pay money to go get data like this. It's an amazing list to be going after, and it's a highly recommended one from me. Now, if you want to pull lists like that and other lists like high equity, which means they don't owe much on the property, which means they're willing to take big discounts on the house, pre-probates, which are people that own property and they're dead and they scrape the obituary records from them, zombie properties, which are basically vacant pre-foreclosures, and so many other lists, I recommend you go to listri.com or zacday.com to go pull these lists absolutely for free. These are great services where you can just pay for this data and get the highest quality data possible at really big bulk, and it'll give you the best success possible. Now, what I can tell you is government leads are so much better. For example, 1,000 government leads could probably land me a really good deal. Now, if I do a paid list lead, it's probably going to take me 3, 4, even 5,000 of those list pulls to get one wholesaling deal. Now, the problem is it's very hard to pull 1,000 government lists, but I could probably pull 10,000 leads from PropStream or batch leads in under 2 minutes. And so that is the point. You want to prioritize getting government lists first, and then any other money that we have left over, any other marketing we have, we want to put that into the paid list section. Number 3, this is an amazing list to be going after, and this is Zillow for sale by owners. These are people that list a property for sale by owner. They don't deal with a realtor. Now, the quick trick here is at freewholesaling.com, we do break down exactly how to do this, but you want to go after Zillow for sale by owners that are just not selling. They've been sitting there for over 100 days. And we just want to lowball like 70% off the listing price and see if they're willing to take it, build some rapport. Now, you can probably go through all the Zillow for sale by owners in your own county in probably under a week. But the point is you just start calling. There's no skip tracing. It's absolutely for free. And you can start making offers right now. I do this a lot on my channel just to show you how to do it. And I absolutely love it because a lot of newbies out here can get their first deal and make a quick 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8K with really no time or energy spent. And you get really good at talking to your sellers by practicing. Last but not least here, number 4, this is our driving for dollars list. And you might be saying to yourself, Zach, this is virtual wholesaling. How can I drive for dollars? Well, you can virtually drive for dollars, which you can go use a service like dmzac.com, which will give you a Google Street View. Then you can mark the properties and do it like that. Or what something I highly recommend is you find somebody in that virtual market. So if I live in Lithuania and I want to wholesale in Houston, Texas, I'm going to go to my free Facebook group, Wholesaling Houses for Real. And I'm going to find somebody in Houston that wants to maybe split up some marketing costs. And maybe you guys can partner up together where they'll drive for dollars. And then maybe you cold call that list in Lithuania. And it's a win-win situation because the person who's drive for dollars will get half the deal. And then the other person will get half the deal. And because you virtual wholesaling, you don't really have the capabilities to go in your car and drive. You're gonna have somebody spend the money doing the gas money, but you're gonna close the deal in front of them over the phone and find a cash buyer and do the other half of the work. It's a great win-win. And a lot of people out here starting out are too scared to talk to sellers over the phone, but they will drive for dollars all day. So if you can find people in Facebook groups like that, or heck, even the comments of this YouTube video, it will 100% help you get some drawing for dollars leads. And I'm telling you, drawing for dollars leads are one of the best leads out here. And if you want to start drawing for dollars, just go to dmzac.com. It's hands down the best drawing for dollars app out there. It's extremely cheap, easy, and very effective. Other people have been using dmzac.com for virtual wholesaling, just hiring VAs for $4 or $5 an hour to go comb through the streets doing virtual drawing for dollars. Again, you can learn that at freewholesaling.com. And they're finding a lot of great deals for very, very cheap. Now, what are the best marketing channels out here for virtual wholesaling real estate? Now, when you're doing virtual wholesaling real estate, honestly, there's only 3 main marketing channels you should be going after. And the way I look at marketing channels is I look at it as the rod, and I look at marketing lists like the bait. You can have really good bait, but if your rod's really bad and you catch a big fish, the rod's gonna snap in half and it's not gonna do well. On the other hand, you can have a really nice rod, but if there's nothing really good as bait, no fish is going to want to bite it. So you want to have a good rod and reel, and you also want to have really good bait. And if you can have the best of the both worlds, that's going to help you get the best success possible. So the 3 marketing channels that I highly recommend for virtual wholesaling are number 1, cold calling. That's you having your phone, going out here and calling motivated sellers. It's still one of the best marketing channels for everything, and it's highly recommended. Number 2 is SMS text blasting, which is you just texting sellers out, seeing if they're looking to sell their property. Again, I have the scripts and everything for cold calling and SMS text blasting at freewholesaling.com. Probably heard me say it a million times in the live streams, but it is still the best course to learn wholesaling real estate absolutely for free. And number 3, this is direct mail. You can pay for some direct mail. Now, as a beginner, I'm not highly recommending it, but if you want to get in the direct mail game, just start out with some probate mailers, just mailing out to probates. Might cost you $50 a month, because postcards, if you don't have thousands of dollars every single month to spend, it's probably not going to be the best thing. So I wouldn't be recommending it right now. But I would say if you're a beginner, stick to cold calling and SMS text blasting. If you're making a little more money, add the direct mail in there. Now, when you're doing cold calling and SMS text blasting, you're gonna have to learn how to do skip tracing, which is basically a detective's term to finding somebody's whereabouts. Now, if you want to find somebody's whereabouts, for example, we see a code violation lead here, and we got to get their phone number so we can call them, see if they want to sell their property. Like many things in life, you can either do it the easy way or the hard way. Now, if I want to find somebody's phone number, if I have no money, I can go to a website like truepeoplesearch.com. And I can actually find their phone number absolutely for free. Now, the problem here is it's very easy, but when I have thousands of leads, it's going to take me hours to go get the phone numbers to 1,000 of those type of leads. Remember, I got to invest my time in, not my money. Or you can invest your money in and save a bunch of time by using one of the paid list service providers that I've said before, listri.com, zacday.com, or dmzac.com. They have great skip tracing, and they'll find somebody's phone numbers with 85 to 90% accuracy. And they cost anywhere between 15 and 10 cents depending on what you get. And it's about 50% more accurate than truepeoplesearch.com. But really, if you have no money at all and you're on a tight budget, I would just use truepeoplesearch.com for now. Alrighty guys, now we're getting the juicy part. This is virtual wholesaling acquisitions. This is how we're actually going to go out here and land this wholesaling real estate deal. So when I find somebody that wants to sell the property, we're going to learn actually how to talk to the sellers. Now, when we want to go out here and talk to the sellers, there's really only one script we want to focus on, and this is what we call MCTP. MCTP basically stands for motivation, condition, time frame, and price. And that's pretty much the conversation we're going to have. M, motivation. Hey, Mr. Seller, why are you looking to sell the property? C, condition. Can you tell me a little bit about the property, Mr. Seller? How's the roof, AC? Is there any repairs I have to do on the property? Time frame, when are you looking to sell the property, Mr. Seller? And then price, how much are you looking to sell the house for? Now, once you get that information, you should just get off the phone with the seller, say, hey, Mr. Seller, thank you for telling me all about the property. Is it okay if I call you back in an hour or two and we can set something up for me and my partner to possibly look at the property? We just got to get some more information about it and talk it over with my partner, see if it's a good fit. When's the best time I can reach back out to you? The thing is, you don't want to act too eager with your seller right now, especially in 2023 in this market. And you want to get some more information to figure out what your MAO and your LAO should be, and really get some comparables on the property to really see what the value is. So get that MCTP and then get off the phone. Now, the next part here is we're going to call back the seller and then we're going to start closing them. But you might be saying, Zach, I thought you have to go see the property, but we're doing virtual wholesaling. How do I do this? Well, don't freak out here. We are going to call the seller back when we figure out how much the property is worth. And really what we're going to do is just calculate what we call the MAO, which is the max allowable offer. I do have all my formulas at freewholesaling.com actually how to calculate it the right way. But really all we do is see what the property's worth on its best day, figure out how much repairs it needs to have. And I can tell you, you're going to find repair costs in under 2 minutes. I have a very easy, handy chart. And you're going to figure out more or less how much a cash buyer is going to buy it for. So if I figure out that a cash buyer is going to buy this property for at least $200,000, that's my MAO. And if I lock the deal up for, let's say, $190,000, I'm going to make $10,000 in profit. And that's going to be a $10,000 check to me for my assignment fee. So going into the talks and negotiations, when I call the seller back, I have this inside information. So we're going to call the seller back. And what we're going to do is the first question we're going to ask is what we call conditioning the seller. Now, conditioning the seller is just making sure the seller is ready to make a yes or no decision on selling the property right now. Because when it comes to actually closing a deal in real estate wholesaling, there's only 3 possible answers: yes or no. And that's the big part that most people know. But the third one is what we call the maybe. And the maybe is basically getting like friend zoned. It's kind of a yes, it's kind of a no. You're in this weird limbo in purgatory. And this is where most deals go to die. time kills all deals. So when we call them back, we're basically just going to say this. Hey, Mr. Seller, I discussed this over with my partner and we're ready to make you an offer on buying the property. And how we do our process is a little different than most people, but we basically give you an offer, and if we can agree to everything, we'll have our partner go on there and actually look at it after, but our offer stays very firm right now. Mr. Seller, are you ready to make a decision on selling your property right now today? And if they say yes, which 99% of the time they're going to say yes, then when we give them an offer, they can't say a maybe because they decided and told me they're ready to make a decision right now. I talked to my partner. I did a good cop, bad cop close, which is basically like, hey, Mr. Seller, I was talking to my partner, Rick, and after looking at everything and seeing the pictures that you sent over, we're going to have to be around $160,000 to buy this property. And maybe the seller's like, whoa, that is way too low. How dare you? Oh my gosh, that's the worst thing I've ever heard. You're going to say, hey, I know. Rick's crazy. He always wants to buy the property for the cheapest. He's crazy. But you're going to have to work on me with this. He's not going to be happy if we get it, the property for a really high price. What works for you? And they spit out an offer, you negotiate from there, and you lock it up for the best you can. Let's say they bring back at 190, you're at 160. Why don't we meet at the middle? Maybe you agree to lock it up for 175. That's a $25,000 profit. Now, once we have them locked up, ready to go for $175,000 to sell the property at that price right now today, what we're going to do is I'm going to stay on the phone and I'm going to say this. Most virtual wholesalers get off the phone, then send them over the contract, and then the deal's dead. Once you get the seller on the phone, they agree to the price, you're going to say this. Hey, Mr. Seller, that sounds fine. We can do $175,000. What I'm going to do right now is email you over the agreement. Let me know when you see in your email so we can get that agreement signed right now. Boom. And then you stay on the phone until the seller signs the contract. Don't say the word contract either, just say the word agreement. Now I'm going to tell you this. This is a huge piece of advice I can tell you, but usually the seller's going to have a couple questions on the contract. And if they don't get their objection answered, aka you not being on the phone, why they look at the contract, they're going to think this is suspicious or this is bad, and they're just not going to want to sign it. But if you stay on the phone, you can answer any objections they have, and then boom, you get the deal locked up. You get about a 75% better success of them actually signing the contract by staying on the phone, because you're kind of breathing down their neck and they just want to get out of their hair so they can go back to whatever they're doing, so they'll just get the agreement signed. That is the point. From there, you let them know that somebody from your team's going to go by and actually just look at the property. Now, it's not going to affect our offer price or our contract price. We just want to confirm pictures, get some quotes of exactly how much repairs we're going to look at, and then my partner just wants to lay eyes on it. Pretty simple, nothing too crazy. And then from there, we're going to go back to the cash buyer dispositions process, which is basically the process of finding a cash buyer and selling it for an assignment fee. Basically, how we do this is we go and find cash buyers. Now, how do you find good cash buyers in virtual wholesaling? I found Facebook groups are really good, cold calling the cash sales, and cold calling the for rents. Now, most cash buyers in virtual wholesaling are going to give us an assignment fee. They want to buy the property either to flip it or to rent it out. So that being said, if they want to rent it out, we're going to cold call the for rents. And if they're buying properties cash and flipping them, paid services like PropStream and batch leads will actually find us cash buyers, are really easy to go. And we can actually pay for the skip tracing and get a list. We can just call cash buyers instantly, very quick. Now, on top of this, we want to have what we call a boots on the ground partner. This is going to be a runner who's going to go by and we're going to pay him like $50 and they're going to get their iPhone and take pictures of the property and videos so we can send that over to the cash buyer. Now, if you really have no money, you can have your cash buyer do it, but there are some risks with that, so just be careful. And then when the cash buyer is ready to see the property and they agree to the price we say, we're going to walk them through. They say yes or no to the property. We send them over the assignment of contract. They sign it. We make our $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 assignment fee when we send it over to the title company. That's as simple as the cash buyer process really needs to be. Now, the hardest part there is honestly finding a good boots on the ground cash buyer runner partner who's going to go by, take pictures of the house, show the property to the cash buyer. And this is all stuff I teach at freewholesaling.com. Now, on top of that, we want to ask cash buyers very specific questions so we know we're not getting screwed out of the deal from them. These are questions you need to learn at freewholesaling.com. I don't have a 5-hour video today on it, but just go through the course. And then lastly is just the virtual wholesaling title company. Honestly, the best way to find a really good title company for virtual wholesaling, which is basically going to close the deal with us, is I would go to Facebook groups and just ask other wholesalers in that market, what's a really good wholesaling title company? And usually they're going to say it. And at freewholesaling.com, again, we show you exactly where to find the best title companies and the best questions to ask. And so I think you're understanding the big underlining thing about virtual wholesaling is if you want to learn it, and learn all the processes, just go through my free wholesaling course, freewholesaling.com. But really, virtual wholesaling real estate is an amazing side hustle or a full-time business that can make you hundreds of thousands a year. And if you get really good at it, it can make you millions of dollars per year like me. It doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are, how experienced you are in the real estate game. If you're willing to put in the time, effort, and the hustle, you can get very successful at this business. So this was my virtual wholesaling guide for 2023. A lot has changed, but what I can tell you is if you put in the work, you'll become successful. So if you got any value from this video, do me a big favor. Make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, go to freewholesaling.com, and I'll see you guys soon. This is Zach signing out. Have a blessed one.